Give it to me. Watch it, nigga. That ain't what you want. That ain't what you want, nigga. No, get on now. That's what all my niggas are. What's up? No, listen. Don't come with it. It's like an act. Wait, niggas like so. Niggas talking about drug dick crack. No, we can't. Yeah, we go. You coming right here, nigga. I'm about broke, nigga. Show me though, nigga. I don't know. Give me a second. You talking small niggas. Did you get cracked? Did you get cracked?
First of all, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. And the reason I'm making this video is not to talk bad about anybody, but just to talk about how sometimes things can be so obvious in front of our faces, but for whatever reason, we don't learn the lesson from it. And I saw clips this weekend of Nipsey Hussle's brother. And apparently he's launched in a restaurant called Marathon Burgers, right? A burger joint, you know, in memory and honor of his brother Nipsey Hussle. But what jumped out to me in the clips was an altercation that he was having with another, I'm guessing another Crip. And basically what he was saying was, I guess somewhere along the line, somebody had said something disrespectful about Nipsey Hussle. And I guess the guy that in question was around that person at some point in time after he had said something bad about Nipsey Hussle, and he didn't do anything to the person. And so Nipsey's brother is like, you can't come around because you ain't get cracking. You ain't do nothing. And I'm looking at the situation and thinking, how is it that the people involved in this situation did not learn from the untimely passing of Nipsey Hussle? If you're looking at the untimely passing of Nipsey Hussle, there's a huge lesson that jumps out, or that should jump out to you. And that's this. You cannot mix the streets with anything else. The streets is a backwards, unorganized, unsafe, for lack of a better terms, death culture. You can't mix the streets with good business. You can't mix the streets with proper health. You can't mix the streets with rationality and good thinking. You can't mix the streets with family. You can't mix the streets with anything positive and expect to have a positive result, because street culture and street mentality is going to contaminate every good thing and every good element that you try to introduce to it. That should have been a lesson learned from the Nipsey Hussle situation. Why do I say that? Well, let's think about, why did Nipsey Hussle lose his life? This is a smart brother, a rich and famous brother, a successful brother, a talented brother, a businessman, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, all those things, right? But how did he lose his life? He lost his life by involving himself in street politics, right? A fellow gang member, a Crip, who goes by the name of, and I'm not making this up, Shitty Cuz. Yes, he calls himself shitty. He identifies as shitty. That should be a red flag right there. But once again, us non-street people, we go, that don't make no sense. But whatever. A fellow gang member by the name of Shitty Cuz comes around, and Nipsey Hussle basically says, hey, to paraphrase, I heard some stuff about you being a snitch. So you got to, straighten that out if you want to come around. And feeling offended by this, or whatever the case may be, this individual took Nipsey Hussle's life. Many people talked about how you can't go back to your neighborhood, you can't help out the people, you can't do this, you can't do that, people are jealous of you, etc., etc. But my main takeaway, once again, was you cannot mix the streets with anything positive and expect a positive result. You can't mix cripping and street rules and snitching and all that. You can't mix that up with proper business and a healthy, successful lifestyle and expect a positive result? That's ultimately what cost Nipsey Hussle his life. Still involving himself with the streets. That's why this clip was alarming to me. It just didn't make any sense. It's like, did we not learn any lessons here? Because when you talk about get cracking and all this other kind of stuff, it's like, here it is. You're trying to continue on a legacy and a brand and make money and do business and be successful and all these kind of things that don't intertwine properly with the streets. But at the same time, I'm sure you have a street element around you that's, backing you up, number one. And then you're having this street conversation with this street individual. Like, you should have learned. You cannot mix the streets with anything positive. So if you're doing this positive business, which it is positive, you got to take all that streets because you don't want to have to worry about the guys that you're paying for protection or the guys that's backing you up. None of that. The last thing that should be associated with your business should be anything about cuz and get it cracking and no. You cannot mix anything positive with the street element and expect a positive end result. So unless they learn the lesson and just go, hey, this is a burger business and that's it, then this is not going to work out well. And it's sad, but that just jumped out to me like, hold on. It's like Nipsey Hussle lost his life involving himself with street rules and street politics and street business. And you're launching a restaurant in his honor and you up here talking about go get it cracking and what? Basically, go do some violence in the streets and then you can come around. Like, I just don't get it, man. I really don't.